aliens could be secretly inhabiting the Earth as we speak. In a new paper titled The Crypto-Terrestrial Hypothesis, a case for scientific openness to a concealed earthly explanation for unidentified anomalous phenomena. Researchers at Harvard and Montana Technological University concluded that unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, aka UFOs, could be living underground, on the moon, or even walking among humans. Though nothing has been proven, the researchers postulate so-called crypto-terrestrials could be an explanation for unidentified and unexplainable observations made worldwide each year.
The paper outlines 4 different theories, including 1, remnant form of ancient civilization remains on Earth. 2, an intelligent species evolved separately from humans and that now stays hidden. And 3, crypto-terrestrials traveled from another time period or planet. And lastly, the unidentified creatures are of supernatural origin, likened to earthbound angels. Researchers attribute repeated sightings in similar areas to entry and exit points for hidden societies here on Earth. And this may all sound nutty, but researchers think so too. They acknowledge that their extraordinary claims are okay because the subject matter, UAPs, are, quote, strange enough that they seem to call for unconventional explanations, end quote. So Amber, I like that they're throwing ideas out there to explain this. We haven't had a lot of researchers be sort of open to this kind of free thinking because science has become a little bit rigid, but I think some of the best science comes out of, asking the extreme questions. If we don't explore the unknown, we'll never be able to figure out the things we don't know and make new discoveries in the scientific field. So I like this.
Yeah, I do too. I'm really interested in the idea that they could be living underground. That's the first time I've heard of that. And I kind of wonder, with all of the drilling and fracking and mining of minerals that we do in the world, not just in the United States, have we ever been close to encountering something that's been living underground? How deep are they? I want to know more.
I wonder also if they're in the ocean. You know how NASA originally was founded, exploring the ocean in great detail, and now they've suddenly decided we're not going to go there, we're going to go to space. But so much of the ocean is unexplored. We've seen orca whales acting weird. Who told them or trained them to do that? I know that the Russian Navy trains marine animals, and when I found that out, I thought that can't be real news. It turns out it's absolutely real and true, and they do that. But maybe it's not Russians, maybe it's in part the UAPs. I think they could be in the ocean in addition to being underground. But the fact that the repeated sightings are in exit points or entrance points of secret places is interesting to me because we've seen a lot of UFO sightings around nuclear sites, nuclear test sites in the United States, and nuclear power plants. And so I thought, maybe they're trying to steal some of this nuclear power and that's what they need for their ships or their society or what have you. But maybe it's an entrance or an exit point and our government's working with them and that's why they won't tell us anything about it, Amber.
Yeah, it could be. I definitely buy the ocean argument, probably more than the argument that they're under the ground because, as you said, there's so much of the ocean that hasn't been explored. It's almost impossible for humans in a timely fashion to explore all of the ocean. And when we do go down to the deepest depths of the ocean, we've seen some pretty insane looking creatures that really have no business even existing. So it wouldn't shock me, the idea that maybe there's something down there that's extraterrestrial.
Yeah, maybe their spaceships are not filled with air or oxygen, but they're filled with water and they're like octopus-looking aliens. We don't know. But I also like the idea that we're so fixated, not we, but the scientists that have been exploring UAPs and the possibility of life on other planets, very fixated on the chemicals or components that we require biologically to survive. It's looking for CO2, looking for H2O, looking for just oxygen and atmosphere. But it's very possible that these beings, whatever they are very different physically than what we are and what we require. And so there's all of these theories that, they exist as light, as different forms of matter and energy, and they're able to interact in that way. And that's very interesting. It seems very out there at first, but the more you think about how we don't have explanation for the way energy flows here on Earth that are scientific or concrete or things that we understand in absolute, of course it's possible there are beings out there that are not existing in the same way we do biologically and physically. And so I think that's very interesting as well. I think these scientists are going in the right direction of just throwing things out there and seeing what sticks.
I'm also encouraged by how much this has popped up in the political debate, where you actually have quite a few lawmakers asking significant questions about the existence of UAPs and UFOs. They've been requesting private meetings in the SCIF to get some of this classified information. They've had the multiple whistleblowers who have come forward from the intelligence community in to testify about what they've experienced or heard or seen. And we've even seen this pop up more in the media space. Tucker Carlson did, I believe, an entire monologue about UAPs this past fall, where he talked about the lack of transparency among the government when it comes to UAPs. And we tend to agree that these are probably more of a spiritual phenomena than anything else. But again, I appreciate that people are taking this more seriously, that it's not like it was 20, 30 years ago when if you even mentioned the potential existence of something like this, you were considered a kook and crazy and it's not someone to be taken seriously.
Right, and there's all kinds of conspiracies that there are lizard people in skin suits pretending to be, the billionaires that run our country and being the president. I'm not keen on that theory. I don't think that's very likely. I do believe it explains away that these are just normal human beings that are very greedy and maybe evil and sought power for those purposes. But I think it's charming and endearing that people don't want to believe human beings are capable of evil, so it has to be something else. That's one of the redeeming qualities. But I do think it's one of the biggest crises in our democracy. We've talked about this on the show before, that we're not getting much from the government on UAPs, despite it being something that people popularly want information on. And I think we're in this moment where if the government of the United States and the typical people that get elected, the establishment Republicans and the establishment Democrats that make up the Uniparty, have this idea that the general public is, too stupid or too chaotic or not emotionally able to handle the information, and so they withhold information. We're at a point where that's really a big factor in spurring the populist movements within the United States, because of course the public should know all of the information the government has in a democracy.
Absolutely. We're going to be back with more Rising after this.